I'm going to do something a little bit different. Just in this video, I'm going to, instead of doing a song for this one tonight, I'm going to talk about something that's kind of concerning. Not kind of, it is concerning to me. It even provokes me to a little bit of a fear, in a sense, I guess, for other believers, for Christians. I'm going to talk about everybody's favorite subject, the pre-tribulation rapture. I want you to know one thing though, before I get started, and I may repeat it even, just to make sure you hear this. The reason that I want to talk about this is not at all because I just want to be right about a doctrine. It is not because I want to debate doctrine. Not that I think there's anything wrong with debating doctrine if your heart's motivation truly is to see the truth come out. But if you're debating simply because you want to show the world the theological savvy that you happen to have, then that's the wrong motivation, and that is often what it seems like to me that a lot of doctrine and theology debates are about. It's really more about the debater showing that he or she is more intelligent than the other person. That's not my heart's motivation at all tonight. My motivation is one that it's based out of a deep concern and even fear for other brothers and sisters that it could be possible that maybe this doctrine is actually, this pre-tribulation rapture doctrine, I think is not only just a flawed teaching, but I think it's one that's by design. I think it's one that is purposeful, and I think it's one that the enemy, that Satan has plans for, and that he has sowed the seeds of this doctrine when he did, so that they would come to fruition for such a time as this, so that he can use this to deceive the church in these times. It was sort of a preconditioning. He's been preconditioning the church with this, so that they would be expecting, as the pre-tribulation rapture teaches, they would be expecting a secretive type of return or coming of the Lord, to come in secret, sort of like a thief in the night, to come and get them, even though the scripture tells us very clear that that day should not overtake us as a thief. If you're a believer, it shouldn't be as a thief to you, because you're not of the night. It's only going to be as a thief to the world. It'll come upon them as a thief. In the same way that everybody was partying it up in the days of Noah, and then the flood came unexpectedly to them. But Noah knew the flood was coming. He knew it was coming because he had been warned. We know because we see the signs. The parable of the wheat and tares makes me think that we might have this whole idea of one being taken and one being left, as it talks about in Matthew 24. Maybe we have that completely backwards, because there's no other scripture I know of that speaks to that idea, one being taken, one being left, more than the parable of the wheat and tares, and then also the dragnet. And those are both talking about the last days as well. It literally says that it's speaking of the end of the age. And then there's this idea of one being taken and one being left. This is Jesus explaining. He spoke the parable in Matthew 12. Matthew 13. Yeah, Matthew 13. But then his disciples asked him about it, and he explained it like this. He said, "He who sows the seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seeds are the sons of the kingdom, but the tares are the sons of the wicked one. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. Therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and those who practice lawlessness, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Who's being taken there? This is talking about the end of the age, the same thing that Matthew 24 is talking about when it says one will be taken, one will be left. Both are talking about the end times, the time of great tribulation. They're talking. Jesus refers to this as one harvest. Both the tares and the wheat grow up together here, till the harvest, not harvests, till the harvest, one harvest. And at the very same time that the wheat is being left behind, the tares are being removed, then the wheat is gathered in this parable. And we've been taught to be fearful of being left behind, but maybe in fact we should want to be left behind. Maybe the one in Matthew 24 being left behind is actually the one that's belonging to God. I'm just speculating a little there, but I mean, it's possible to me. It seems like that's a real possibility, because we do have this scripture, this parable, verifying that whole idea of one being taken, one being left, that we have over in Matthew 24. And if that's the case, then why in the world do we have it totally backwards, and where did that come from? How did we get to thinking that? And could it possibly be that maybe the reason we are believing and looking for this pre-tribulation type of rapture, where Jesus comes and secretly takes the people, his people, and then the ones that are left behind are the people of the world, maybe we're seeing that backwards, and in fact we're being primed for some sort of a false rapture, a false second coming, a false arrival of a false Messiah, where he sends out angels, but maybe they're not God's angels, and they gather together his people, believing that they're going to meet Jesus for the rapture, and in fact it's the wrong rapture, because there's really only one. It's at the end, when Jesus shows up and sends out the angels for the harvest, where the wheat and the tares have both grown up together at the end. It's something you may or may not want to hear, you may not want to agree with, or even really consider the possibility that this could be true, but at least now I can get it off my chest that I have put that idea out there, and I'm sure there are others people have too, but so that you're warned, so that maybe if it does go something like that, and something this comes along this way, Scripture is very clear. When Jesus returns, every eye is going to see it. It's not going to be secretive. It's not going to be a bunch of people running around wondering where the Christians went, because everybody's going to know who it is that's returning and who's coming. And it's just, they won't be expecting it. It'll come upon them as a thief. For us, we should be expecting it, because we see the signs pointing, saying, he's coming. It's at the door. So that's it for tonight as far as this particular video. I'm going to do a song in another one. Thanks.